Hi, my name's Shawn Shaler. That's my friend Chris Ford, aka The Objective Geek of YouTube and Twitter. And today we are here to talk about Book 3 Change, Chapter 8, The Terror Within of the Legend of Korra series. And stuff gets real fast here. And it's very exciting. But before we get to that, as always, Chris, how you doing?
I am doing the same, decent, as you asked last time. Uh, which always,
You mean to tell me that
decent
your
doses.
emotions have not changed in the past 60 minutes?
Uh, you know what? They're a little better, Sean. I get
Oh,
to talk with
stop it.
you.
Stop it. I would like to think that it's not that it has to be the high point of your day, but that your day can't get worse after you talk about Avatar. I don't feel like it can get worse. Unless you're.
Hard to get worse. There's an hour left in the day.
Right.
Things got a dramatic I I don't come into contact with anyone else. Something really catastrophic has happened in that hour,
It's
but
at the end of the
it,
Friday. You got the whole weekend to look for it. It's the last thing you do. It's like, I would like to think it's a positive. Just, the only way it could be worse talking about Avatar is if somebody's asking stupid trivia questions, poorly constructed garbage.
yes.
Uh, Chris, I think this would be. We're like halfway through October, and I know you're a Halloween person. You got any costume plans for the kiddos? I know you always plan the
My
costumes
daughter's
big.
gonna be Ladybug. Oh, I need to buy the costumes. Right now would be a good time to buy the costumes. My daughter's gonna be Ladybug. My son's gonna be Luigi.
You know what? I
So,
did already ask you that maybe like 2 weeks ago,
okay.
2 or 3. I forgot, but well, hey, that's a lot of fun. I am going as Nicolas Cage from National Treasure, which
Okay.
means that I'm wearing a suit and carrying around a fake Declaration of Independence. And I guess
Of
I'm just
course.
going to answer the door holding it. And kids will be like, I don't get you. And I'll be like, that's fine. I'll be like, that's fine. Or however Nicolas Cage would say it.
Yeah.
I'll work on
That's
it.
better impression I would have done.
I, he's an impression like you can't get it perfect, but everybody still knows like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like I know what you're trying to do, and it's not good, but
Yeah.
I get the gist of it. But what else are you up to this week?
Watched more TV lately. Watched Ted Lasso. Season two is done. I enjoyed season two more than season one, but just from a storytelling standpoint, it's not as I mean it's still charming as heck, but they dive a little darker, more real stuff is happening. Try to enjoy that.
I would like to think that by the time this posts, I will have finished that last episode, and then maybe in the
Yeah,
near future,
probably.
we'll go back. I never went back to look at comments to see if people are like, "Hey, this is stupid. Don't ever do this again." But if people didn't hate the first one, we can use the like a review of the second one as a
Probably
filler
nice
when
enough
we
just
need a
to
break.
ignore it.
Yeah, yeah, or whatever. It's nice to have those kind of fillers when you need them, like a one-off that we can plug in somewhere. So
Yeah,
I'd like to review season 2 at some point. And even though I will say that I don't like the more feelsy stuff, I am a really big fan of
yeah,
what they're doing in this season.
yeah.
So
I think I caught more feelings this season than last season. Like I definitely
yeah,
cried
absolutely.
at a certain moment, but
It's more
uh,
frequent with the hits, with the heavy emotional hits.
yeah, definitely.
I've got to
What am
sneeze and cough all at the same time, so I'm going to let you take it. I got to mute before I
I?
destroy this podcast.
Also, I just got done watching Squid Game, which is apparently the most popular show of all time now, or at least for Netflix worldwide. It was our show. If you're not familiar with the premise of Squid Game, it's a South Korean show, so it's. I watched it in dub. I will admit. Um, the thing is, I watch it in dub, but then when it gets like a very serious moment, I know two characters are having a very intense conversation. I then switch it to sub because I like to get that emotion from them. Then I go right back to dub. It's a weird thing. Um,
That's kind of messed up.
but
I will not be
yeah,
watching it because it will give me nightmares. And
nah,
so,
it's not scary.
but it's violent and scary. It's
I mean,
scary. Which
sure.
people die all over that thing.
I
I
mean, yeah, but it's not that
I
bad.
watched my
I mean,
wife watching it for like a minute, and I was like, "What is this?" And she's like, "Netflix recommended." I was like, "Okay." And then
when
the
they
next
play red
day,
light, green light,
the next day I got on Twitter or whatever, and everybody's talking. I was like, why does that sound familiar? And I was like, everybody is watching this show but
Yeah.
me. And then I looked a little deeper. I was like, no, I'm not watching that. No
I
way.
honestly would not recommend you to watch the show. Thing is, I wouldn't really recommend anybody to watch it. I'm not. I wouldn't think like, oh, people you should go watch Squid Game. I don't think it's that great to where I'm like, oh,
It's
you should
a
watch.
it's a flash in the pan Netflix deal. It's not to say that it's gonna die soon or anything.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm trying to say. I just like in a couple of years, are we gonna anywhere care as much about this show as
I
people do
think
right
I
now?
think it'll get a second season and actually look forward. The end of this season makes me look forward to a season two if there is a
Okay,
season two, which there probably will be
it
because
made money.
it yeah make money. It's one of the most popular shows ever apparently.
Hashtag money money money.
Uh, but no, I thought it was fun.
Okay,
It's funny. I was at a business lunch. Sounds very fancy. Last week.
it does sound very fancy.
I know, right? I've never said that statement before. I was at a business lunch meeting.
I was doing
Actually,
some networking with some fellow executives of mine at a
yeah.
brunch.
Things it was the lead network. There we just had a vendor fly in from like I don't know where they're from, honestly. But they had to fly in and they just wanted to have lunch with us. They'll be like handling certain aspects with members of ours. Um, and they're just like, oh yeah, we just really want to meet you guys. And so we met them in person at a restaurant, and then I actually met people on my team for the first time, even though I've been working with them for like 2 years now, which is that's the sign of times.
I just made a
Um,
year, and literally Wednesday evening, I met some of my peers in person for the first time,
yeah, it's
and then
weird.
I
It's
just hit
like
the year marker.
it's like going on a blind date almost in a way. Like there's one guy I was like, oh, I told him I was like, oh, you're taller than I expected. Like I thought, like for some reason you have the voice of a 5'6" person, but instead he's like 6'2" or 6'3".
I That sounds
Um,
awful. Like you expect a 5'6" person to have like a high squeaky voice. Like look at that little chipmunk.
yeah.
I had a similar experience where a person who, whatever's above director, right? There's like my manager and then my director and then the next
Yeah.
person, and I met him in person. And internally, I thought, I think he's older than I thought he was, right? Like
Mm.
just in person, maybe he doesn't look as good as he does on camera. And then like a day later, he's like, I'm retiring, and at the end of next year, I was like, is yes, wait, I jinxed it by seeing him. I was like, when what's his name Gray sees the painting of himself and then he gets old all at once or whatever. I jinxed it.
uh,
I can't think of his name. You know who I'm talking about. He sees the painting and then he turns old because the
League of
painting was
Extraordinary
aging for.
Gentlemen.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
he also had his own right, whatever that book was before.
Oh, I
Right,
didn't know that.
right. Like they all came from different pieces of
Oh,
of,
yeah,
of literature.
you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. That
Oh,
movie
my point
isn't. That
was,
movie is not good, but I do still
yeah.
watch it on occasion. It's not good at all, but I do.
My point was bring up the business lunch. Uh, this lady there. We're the point of the lunch was just to familiarize with each other and just chat and network really. And I hate that term network. Always have hate. Anyway, not important. She's like, oh,
It's a dirty word.
we're going around asking what we're all watching, and
Chris's
uh,
response is Avatar and Squid Games.
it was not Avatar. No, I wasn't watching Squid Game at that point because she was the one that recommended Squid Game. I was like, oh yeah, I've heard of it. So that's why I was bringing up that business lunch. I did not say Avatar because one thing I haven't been watching the original Avatar lately, and I'm not like consistently watching Core. I just watch it when we're watch when to review. The thing is, I was really wanting to be like everyone. The best TV show of all time is this cartoon called Avatar: The Last Airbender. But like, I tried to contain my nerdiness to a certain extent because,
Just at first, that's fine.
well, yeah, I just try to contain. I feel like it can backfire on you in the corporate world to certain
Yeah. Just
just
you
things. Because I
just want to
don't.
ease. I would do the same thing with a girlfriend or whatever. Like you don't want to
Yeah.
dump every. You should be yourself. You should, but not
Yes.
all right at once. You
Yeah.
like break it in
Like,
a little
no, you
easy.
know how hard like this one guy brought up Game of Thrones, and I so in my head I was like. Oh, you want a show like Game of Thrones? But let me tell you about the show. It's like Game of Thrones, but it's for the whole family, right? Instead of murdering and boobs and sets, there's life lessons and comedy and
Yeah, but when you
really
took away
spiritual.
murdering and boobs and sex, you just took away Game of Thrones. Like that's all there is, Chris. That's
Nah, there's a lot more. And like
okay. You took away
it
eighty
took me a
percent.
lot to like not mention because things I like to mention Avatar because there might be a chance that other people love Avatar. Then I can talk to them about Avatar and how great it is.
You establish it.
But
You know what?
no, I held
Next
back.
networking event. It's funny. My wife has to go to them all the time, and every time she says it, I just cringe a little bit.
Yeah, I'm getting better at playing the game. I think you gotta play the game. If you
Just,
want
wife's a champ. I should take pointers, I guess. I don't know.
to, yeah. I was not good at playing the game at Payless. I'm trying to learn from my past.
That's what first jobs are for. That's what first jobs
That
are.
was 8 years of my career progression doing this while others did this. But
Happens, happens. So that's why that's the first job. Uh, we have a very exciting episode this week, in my opinion. Spoiler foreshadowing report. No, spoiler alert. Very exciting episode, and I'm excited to dive into it. I will admit in advance, it's not that they don't have clear cuts in between, but we get to the point of the season where I do just kind of watch them all in a bundle every single time. So apologies if I jump ahead and say things that are not in this episode.
mhm.
But it's all really good, and I enjoy the crap out of all of it, and so it's
Yeah.
bound to happen. Chris, do you care to walk us through the
Let's
episode?
get into it. All right. First of all, I really like how the episode starts off with Korra training and metal bending. I just I really love this action scene. Like she first loses to Win or Away. I don't know which one is which. Um, and then Bolin's also training, and Bolin is just like cheating because he earth bends a pebble at one of the guys' heads. And like I love how one of them is like, "Oh man, it's so cool! I'm sparring with the Avatar." Like, I like it when people treat give the Avatar title the respect that it deserves. Because far too often, Korra doesn't get that respect and admiration. But he's like, "Oh, cool! I'm sparring with the Avatar." Like that is cool to like. They're so like if we read the Kyoshi books, we watch Avatar: Last Airbender. There's a certain aura
There's like
of
a
the
mad
Avatar.
respect, yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
like oh, to be a to be a member of the Avatar's what do they call it? Companion to be a companion of the Avatars would be a great honor. Like that's how it was in Kyoshi's time, and then even in Aang's time to much lesser extent. But in Korra's time, it's not like a oh you're the companion of the Avatar. It's like nah, you're friends with Korra. Okay.
imagine if they had cell phones, like how much less interesting it would be to them.
Yeah.
Oh, the Avatar sent out a tweet again. Okay.
Yeah. Apparently, Avatar thinks this new cereal is
Is good,
not as
yeah.
good as
It would be even worse. I like to think that the sheen wore off of the Avatar thing when like Aang came back and everybody's excited, like, "Oh, there's an Avatar. We don't know how to act." And then Korra came along and was like, "You know what?
That's true.
We're
Yeah.
kind of like okay.
We're done
We're
idolizing.
more
Yeah.
worldly now. We see
Yeah.
more than we used to." Korra.
Yeah. That could be some part of it because I mean there are a few people who I think really had some high admiration for the Avatar even when Aang was because yeah 100 years went by and like those customs get lost. Really, only old people are just like, well then Aang met that one guy who that fisherman, and Aang was like I'm the Avatar, and the guy's like I don't care. And like
What are you okay? You gonna help me catch some fish? I forget what he said
yeah
exactly. What have you done for me lately, or whatever? But it is
yeah
like that's like a genuine sort of rustic Midwestern reaction to an important person. It's like
yeah
fine. You
yeah.
gonna buy something at the store on the way through? You just passing by? What?
uh, anyway, and then Korra fights them and she beats them at their own game. I'm sorry, they're not playing the game, but she beats them at metal bending. And she's like, "Woohoo, metal bending champ!" So Korra's like, great at everything. Well, not great at everything, great at metal bending. Anyway, and then yeah, they say goodbye to Opal, and they'll always have Kale between Bolin and Opal. That's a nice little goodbye.
There's a
Yeah.
beautiful comparison here between. So by the time you see this, not this week's Bending the Elements podcast, but last week's Bending the Elements podcast when it's talking about Korra teaching Aang to waterbend and like how good Aang picks it up and that just sort of envy, and it's a great podcast. Go Braving the Elements
Yeah.
the last week and listen to this week's too. And I thought that paralleled really nicely with this episode of like Korra just picking up metal bending and just being a champ, and putting up with those people always pisses me off. But you're not supposed to be jealous. You're supposed to be happy for him. And Janet Varney had really nice points. It's like, fine, Janet Varney, that's fine.
Yeah, no, I get what I really like that episode because I
Yeah,
was thinking about
let's
myself,
touch it.
which I might have talked to about this before. Just like I remember, I have my group of friends in the neighborhood, right? Like I was the best at basketball, like like the one that like if we went to the gym and there was some guy there like who was really good, I would always be the one to challenge them, and then just just growing up, I reach my peak or somewhat peak. You find out that your friends have them their genetic code that they're actually taller than you. You just happen to be like a year older than than them, and like they were touching rim and stuff, like almost dunking. Like I just had, I had weird insecurity about like not being able to touch the goal like they could and stuff like that. Like sometimes I wouldn't even want to go play basketball because I just didn't care to. Um, and I had one friend who practiced a lot. His shot got really good because the person that actually taught him how to shoot, like the guy at the gym. And then it's just like, man, I'm just getting like not as good. Like, oh, there's just weird uh, insecurities that people go through
It
that
looks
they
different on
shouldn't.
everybody, but we all go through it somewhere.
Yeah,
There's not a
exactly.
person alive that feels any kind of feelings that has not felt exactly that feeling in
Yeah,
some way, shape, or form.
yeah. Anyway, so yeah, say goodbye. Varric is also they have like the dinner, and it's funny that you do kind of see like just little moments of Korra and Asami and their friendship growing some. And then Varric sits by them. Varric's like, I got an airbender tracker. And she's like, oh, great. Like, we could use this. And she's like, and Simon gets it. And Simon's like, I don't think it works. He's like, well, you got to airbend into it. Duh. How else do you think it's going to work? Just,
Varric in these past few episodes, it's peak Varric. It is my favorite. Next
yeah.
episode, next season, he goes a little too far, like the helpful direction. But this season, Varric is among
Okay.
my favorite characters.
Yeah.
Well, you got to airbend into it first.
um, anyway, yeah, so they say goodbye to Opals and they go sleep for the night. And we see the Red Lotus members scouring around Zaofu. And they, one thing, Minghua, freaking creepy. Those water bending arms, like the character design on Minghua is so. Character design's not the word I'm looking for. Just, I mean, it kind of is.
It
Just
evokes a kind of spookiness that we really don't like. The closest other thing I can think of
probably
is like something
Hama.
spirit. Well, okay. Oh, Hama. I didn't think about her. I was thinking of like some of the spookier spirits. It's like giving me
Oh,
that
yeah,
same vibe. Hama's a great
yeah,
comparison. So yeah, it's just good design and like evoking this kind of unexpected emotion.
yeah. Like the way she like uses water to cut the glass and then push the glass up, grab it and then take it out is really cool. And then they knock out Naga and they knock out Korra and they kidnap her. And then Pabu sees it and Pabu's just like and Bolin's like, not now, Naga. Oh, they got Korra. And he's like, they got Korra. It's just really good PJ Bryan there. And then yeah, this is when I was like, holy crap, like they are in Zaofu. They got core. Like we are Bolin. Like holy crap, they got core. Like I've things have never just went from like quiet calm night to just they got the avatar. Like it's never been like in After Our Last Airbender.
That's a true 180. Like
And
we go from this is the safest city in the world
yeah,
to they're about to succeed in their world chaos. Like it's a literal 180.
Yeah. Uh, and then all out fight breaks out. It's it's hard to even describe this fight, honestly. This the closest other fight in the whole series that I think compares to this is the fight in a City of Walls and Secrets, I think. No, not City of Walls and Secrets. Dang it. Oh no, I can't think of the episode. It's no Lake Lao Guy. That's the name of the episode. Where you have like Jet and Toph and Katara and Aang and Sokka fighting the elite agents, like to where like there's so many members, different bending going on, different fighting going on. It kind of reminds me of that. And
I I
yeah,
do
this
have I do have qualms. I like a lot what I see, but I do have some qualms with kind of how it goes down. Nothing serious, but it does feel like it should be fuller. Like there should be more metal bending security and stuff around. And then there's some points where it's like kind of dead. It's like I know those four people aren't standing on that island just waiting on you to make your moves. That's not how this fight's gonna go down.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like they constructed it in a way. So right, so like the metal
I don't want to
benders
take. I'm not
first.
trying to take too much away from it. It just
Okay.
it's just it's not full enough, and I'm really sad that there's not more metal bend. Like there should have been metal bending security all around, just absolutely hurling, just chunk after chunk after chunk of it, just incapacitating.
Well, so I think the reason for that, 'cause I think I had that first thought also today when watching it. Like they had Korra, right? They couldn't just like shrink that metal around them and like crush them because they would risk crushing Korra's unconscious body that's laying right next to them. So I think they had to play it safe to a certain extent. And when it comes to the Red Lotus, I mean they were completely surrounded, and so they're kind of playing very hard defense,
Okay,
especially
but
with
if you have, the entire security squad, let's say there's 10 security guards outside of the regular team or whatever, they should all be throwing metal whips at ankles. Absolutely. They should be trying to trap ankles like I'm embarrassed. I can't even think of what her name, the villain in the next season. What the heck is her name?
Kuvir.
Kavira, thank you. They should be Kavira incapacitating people, and there should just be
I mean,
10
Kuvir was there.
Kavira should be doing it. Oh, you're so
Kuvir
big and
should be.
bad in the next season, but you can't do it now. There should be 10 security guards hurling those things at bad guys. And but I don't want to take it. It's a very minor detail. It's also like, it's the middle of the night. Maybe it takes a while to rally security from these other places. I don't know.
Yeah, I do like how the characters are dressed for the middle of the night. Like there's a meme of like Order the White Lotus. How about the Order of the White Tank Tops? Because like Mako, Bolin, and Lin Beifong all just have on like white muscle shirts.
Looking hot.
Yeah. And then Asami is just like still got on makeup on and dressed in like
She
a fancy nightwear.
she wake up looking great.
Yeah.
Some of us do that. I don't. In this house, we don't wake up looking great.
Yeah. Um I can't even explain like how the fight goes on. They get to a point where they're like, all right, we can't attack them from before because
They're kind of
that
getting
one-eyed
sniped off
freak.
by Pali. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think this is the first episode where you see Pali has direction. She can curve the bullet,
Yeah,
if you will.
it's messed up.
Yeah. Like I don't think I noticed that the first time I watched it, but you lose kind of that thought when you watch this rewatch the series
And I
several
haven't
times.
noticed it in previous episodes this watch through either.
Yeah.
It's a
So
little
that was
bit like in a James Bond game where it's like a Sentinel where you do have some element of control, but it's not super precise, right? Like when they're hiding behind, a wall or something, it's not like she can like home it in and find him. It's still like on a momentum trajectory.
yeah.
And it
Yeah,
reminded
yeah.
me exactly of GoldenEye on like GameCube and PS2 and Xbox.
Yeah.
That's a great game. Let's go play that.
So yeah, so you just get like kind of this all out kind of
Nightfire,
fight
not
that's just
GoldenEye. Nightfire, sorry. Blah.
um and so they're like come up with a plan. They're like, all right, Bolin, you gotta knock out Pali because that's how That's how combustion benders can be uh, attacked. You knock them out, then they can't combustion bend because
That
then
sounds
they'll
like a
just kill
good plan of
themselves.
attack versus any kind of bender. If you knock them out, they become
Well,
less good
I
at
don't think
bending.
so. Well, they meant like
They
all
said
they need to
stun
do
her,
is
actually. Yeah, they
yeah,
needed
just
a
stun.
stun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not like completely knock her
I'm
out.
going to say if you give anybody a real bad headache, they're going to be worse at bending. I think that's a fair statement.
Sure. Um, so then they're like, all right, we'll go up. I love that they completely came up with a mission plan like pretty right away. Like they have like big, huge walkie-talkies, which I love that it's right for the time. It's like they got to carry this huge box and then the phone with it, and they each have it. So then Bolin gets the shot, and Lin and Suyin cables down, and then they save Korra, and then even then it's all dramatic and stuff. And even then, Zahira's still trying to get them,
Yeah.
and then
Bolin
so
even like he misses a couple first, and it's like that last minute
yeah,
one that he hits
exactly,
home
yeah.
and
Like there's some
all that.
miscommunication, right? Because they're waiting for him to knock out Pali, and he's like, oh, I can't do it, and then Michael's like, it's not a go, it's not a go, and then Wei and Win's like, it's a go, all right, it's a go, and then yeah, great scene. And they rescue Korra, and then they still fight a little bit more, and then Zahira's like, we failed, and then they have to go.
It's like a tantrum we failed to.
He's pretty mad about it. His initial plan was just to sneak in and get Korra. He didn't plan out an all out brawl fight and Zaofu.
It's not a great place to get into a fight for that crew. Also,
Yeah,
not an ideal fighting locale. But
not a lot of water for Pali.
no metal benders on squad.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So then at this point, they're dealing with the aftermath, like the morning after. Like, all right, how did they get in Zaofu? Like, we must have a rat in here. So then they have to question every member of the security force, and Aiwei does that questioning because he is a truth seer. And then, and then, and at one point, Lin is suspectful of suspicious of her sister Suyin, and then so Aiwei questions her about it, and they're like, "All right, that's fine. She's telling the truth." And then, Mako, which is oh yeah, this is the point I wanted to make before. Mako does detective work, which I love this aspect of Mako that I don't think I've picked up on really. I think in this rewatch I picked up on a lot that
Yeah.
he is one of his best traits is being a detective, being a good
And
cop, being able to piece stuff together.
it tracks with his character and his past lives and
Exactly.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I would like them to I would have liked them to lean even more into that. The thing is they probably do lean fairly into it, and we actually see them leaning into it throughout the season. Next season, I don't think they do as much of that. In season
No.
two, he did a lot of that.
That just means it's done like subtly though, and that's kind
Yeah,
of nice.
yeah, yeah. It's a new appreciation I have for Mako that he is actually like a very good detective.
Hmm?
Um, and that he's like, no, I don't. Oh, they after Iway does the questioning, they find out they now accuse this guard, but the guard was like born in Zaofu. Oh, I'm sorry. This guard was born in Zaofu, been there his whole life. And Michael's like, why would he do that? Like, how would he even be indoctrinated into the Red Lotus? Like, this doesn't make any sense. And even Michael's like, but Iway said that he was telling the truth, but the one person that could lie in Zaofu is Iway. So now he's suspecting Iway. And like while they're having this conversation, Varric is like, yeah, that's what I would do. Like,
Oh, because
this is
that's
great.
exactly what you did to us.
Yeah. And he was like, yeah, that worked
Exactly.
out great. Not for you,
But
but
for me,
yeah, yeah. And then so then they go and to search Aiwei's place because they need evidence before taking it to Suyin because Aiwei's her most trusted confidant. and and then Aiwei um stops. Aiwei catches them, sort of, but he doesn't catch them and add. They're just there. But like, I really love this part of it because they know Aiwei can tell if they're lying, and so they're very careful with what they're saying. And I really love how smart every character is, pretty much but Bolin. I mean, but Bolin doesn't like. Wait, he says
He
something
doesn't
one
spill
time.
it, but it's just
He says something
struggling
really
to be
dumb because
deliberate.
yeah, because he's like, I don't know why I'm maybe telling you this. You can tell I'm lying. It wasn't anything that gave away what they were doing. It was just something else that was dumb. But every other person is like, I was like, what are you doing here? And they're just like, we just have questions that we think you can help answer. Like they're saying things in such a deliberate way that they're not lying. So I just think that's really smart. Really good writing, really just
Well,
good
and then
actions by the characters.
they know that he knows that they've fooled around, right? Like he moves the vase
Yeah,
back and he's suspicious. So they're even going through all this effort, and it's like it's a little bit of a formality at this point.
yeah. And then he finally drops the ruse. He's like, "You have no idea what's coming to you, Avatar." And then he shuts the gate and something, and Korra bends through, and then there's a big explosion. Like things are freaking crazy. Like anytime there's a random explosion that you don't see coming, like the stakes have been upped and things are on and happening. Um, and then uh, everyone hears the explosion. Suyin comes down, Lin comes down, and they tell him like I was someone who did this. And Suyin is really mad. Like she trusted him, and then Korra wants to go after him, and then Lin is like, no, I need to take you to Republic City where it's safe. Suyin's like, Korra, listen to Lin. Like, let's just sleep, and in the morning you go to Republic City. And then later on, Suyin is like, here's my Jeep. Weird that they call it a Jeep. Thing is, I kind of forget that the Jeep is actually not like.
But a Jeep is trademarked, right? The brand Jeep is the brand. So I didn't think
Is it a
about
brand
it. Is,
or is
yeah.
it?
No, it's
I know
Jeep.
it's
Jeep.
definitely a brand,
Jeep is
but is
the
it
brand.
also? But is it also the name that?
I don't know, but
Oh,
I never thought of it until you brought it up just now. That's funny. Huh.
yeah.
Anyway, huh. I mean, it's good pub, right? Like, hey, metal benders, they own Jeeps.
Yeah.
You want to
Um,
pick up metal bending babes? Buy a Jeep.
uh, so yeah, so at this point, so when I first watched this season, when it premiered, I was I had so many misconceptions about Su Yin. Like I was for sure that Su Yin, not for sure, but I was very suspicious of Su Yin because she she tells Korra like, yeah, go after Aiwei. Like she puts Korra in harm, and in my head, like, oh, she's setting her up. Like, of course she wants to go after Aiwei because Aiwei has a trap. Like that. Oh man, really hope that Suyun's not like secretly working with him. Although I think it would have totally made sense. And then there was a picture of Suyun, like with the circus, and the guy who she's on the shoulders of. He kind of looks like Zahir with a bald head. And I was like, holy crap, is that Zahir? Like, did they meet a long time ago? Turns out that that's not Zahir, of course. The guy is a lot
It's
taller
still
than Zahir,
funny.
but he kind of looks like Zahir. And
I'm
like maybe
oblivious to
thought they could be
everything, so I
related.
made no such connections.
But I had theories about Suyin. Cause like they could have easily turned that way. I think from this, I'm glad they didn't, because I love Suyin the character. I'm glad that. I mean, she would have made an interesting villain, like the daughter of Toph. Like
I
that
mean,
would have
it's
been
kind
a
of a saucy story set up, absolutely.
yeah.
I don't really know what her motives. I mean, I'm sure it'd be easy to craft them, but off the top of my head,
Yeah, I think you
motives.
grabbed him. One of these days, I might do a video like, what if Suyin was the villain, and then just
Just a what if break point from right here. What if Suyin was helping?
exactly, yeah,
That'll be a fun filler someday.
yeah, um, and
Suyin
yeah,
essentially wakes. Was she wake them in the middle of the night, or does she just wave and
yeah.
wait
I think it's
until
no, it was the middle
Lin
of the
leaves?
night.
Yeah.
No, no, I'm sorry. She didn't wake them. Yeah, she's waited till Lynn left, pretty much. Yeah, and
And then sets him loose in her Jeep, her
yeah,
trademark Jeep.
in her Jeep Grand Cherokee. No, I think it's more of a
It's
Jeep Wrangler.
probably a Patriot. It looks like a Patriot, I bet.
Nah, it's not a Patriot. I think it's a Jeep Wrangler. Jeep Wranglers tend to have like open doors or whatever. No doors.
That's funny. I didn't think of that till just now. What an action-packed episode! It feels way longer
I know,
than
right? Then I feel like we explained, went through it a lot faster than what happened. I feel like a lot of stuff happens,
it
but I
feels like
can
a
like,
long. It feels like two episodes. Like it feels like an episode that ends in a fight, and then the next episode they're searching for the mole. But
yeah.
it's
No,
all
I feel
one.
like I feel almost feel like it's 3 episodes, almost like a tiny little like training, saying goodbye to Opal, a big huge freaking fight, and then a search for the mole. Like it's a weird,
Yeah, in a
but
good way.
it works
It's
in
a
a yeah,
very high compliment.
yes.
Uh, well, hey, high compliments. That's a nice segue, Chris. Let's go do some ratings, which I think
All
are
right,
pretty complimentary.
audiovisual a 9. The fight is really good. This like I had to rewatch this fight a couple of different times. This is one of my favorite fights I think in the whole entire series. There's really good stakes involved in like the Avatar is kidnapped. She's knocked out. She can't do anything right now. It's all up to her friends to save her. Really good fight. Um, yeah, really. Oh, and then the fight before that, the training I really enjoy. I always enjoy that picture. There's just a GIF. Yeah, a GIF of Korra just like in her metal bending stance, she like twists and stuff and wraps the metal around her, and then she trips way or win. Great stuff there. Story 9. Also, the story just completely picks up from here. Like you start to question everything. You're really questioning like, all right, how did they get into Zaofu, which is this like impenetrable city, or who is the mole type of deal. The story is just really picks up from here. Memorable, also gave it a 9. I remember this thing is this season to this point has been like really good. I remember when I first watched, I was like, oh, this is a really good season. Like I'm really liking these villains. And this episode just took it up a whole nother notch. This was probably one of the first episodes that right when I got done, I rewatched it. Like yeah, because it was on the Nick app, not Nick app, on Nick.com. Funny enough, quick shout out to or quick admiration to Legend of Korra. Legend of Korra was probably the first. I'm pretty sure it's the first show, wide popular show that was streamed, like streaming only.
Like primary stream, yeah.
Yeah, like it wasn't on Nickelodeon.
That's fair.
Yeah,
Never thought about that.
yeah, we should really give Korra her respect.
Korra spawned the real rise of Netflix, which was proprietary
Exactly.
productions.
The thing is, honestly, if they would tell like Mike and Brian like right so the execs not the execs but like the I don't know the data people would be like yeah the ratings aren't like great but you should pay attention to like how many views we're getting online like you're doing really well like it's crazy to think about now like that's what
That's the
people
only way to
want.
measure.
Yeah,
You are the
people aren't
sabermetrics of TV.
yeah people aren't measuring ratings nearly as much as they used to
No.
because one thing people they either DVR stuff or they just wait
You
to
send
stream
out a
it.
Nielsen rating survey and somebody gonna pick it up and be like, what?
Yeah. Anyway, memorable gets a 9, so that math is easy. 9 out of 10 for the total. I don't know what it would have took for it to get any higher than that. Visual almost took it higher, but I don't know things get
I think just
there's a little bit more
because
room.
things get better later on is probably at least when I rate things that like I don't know, it's hard to keep it in a
Yeah,
vacuum of itself. It's like I know things get even better. I gotta savor it, savor it.
yeah.
Audio visual, I did 8.5. I wish I'd have gone higher because even while we're talking, just now while we're talking, thinking about the music or sometimes the lack thereof, like there's nice ambient
Hmm.
sounds during the fight and music. in the way that like when there's no sounds or anything like that, and it's even a nice job of like evoking dread, kind of.
Yeah.
And they just all around. I don't know why I didn't go higher. 8.5 is low and it's wrong. Story I feel okay about. I still have like just the smidge of qualm with the fight, and a smidge of qualm with Mako should have gone like straight to Suyin and been like, hey, how do you know I always telling the truth because of this? I don't know. At least that's what I would have done. And that did irk me like a little bit. And then also the Suyin, like the straight up lie to Lin. Like I think they could have resolved it without the lie, and it would have
Yeah.
still been fine. It just felt like a quick way to like get it over with. Story.
Like you're trying to repair this relationship with your sister, and you completely go against what she said, which wasn't like some outlandish request that she had. It was
Yeah.
very reasonable.
And then in the
So
end, Lin was more right than Su Yin was anyway. And so just, but hey, minor picks. We're talking 8.5. Minor nitpicks. Memorable 9.5. This is one of my
ooh,
favorite episodes. Period. Love
yeah.
it. To think about, to rewatch, to all the love it. 8.8 if I wasn't dumb on the audiovisual, which I don't get it. I don't get myself. Uh 8.8. It's a great episode. We're at
Sorry.
8.9 together. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Final thoughts?
This is this is the episode that I always look forward to the most watching in the season. Like
Ramps up.
I know it's not the best episode, but it's
No.
always the episode I look forward to watching it because I know like yeah, everything is just ramped up from here. Um like it's weird that I even thought that the original Airbenders came after this episode for some reason. Things I feel like original Airbenders should go like
Earlier.
before yeah, either earlier because
It
at
should
the
be
end
like episode
of
5. It should be like pre metal bending anything. And then the last half of
Mhm.
the season should just be all awesome Metal Clan stuff.
Yeah, there's probably
And
some semantics, probably some something in the way of there.
yeah, we're not thinking about it super detailed
But
wise.
yeah, at the end of whatever the episode was before, um, I think the Middle Clan. No,
Old wounds?
maybe at the end of the Wounds. So here it's like she's with the Metal Clan. Like when you should have went from like Zahir saying she's with the Metal Clan, and then you see Zahir with the Metal Clan. Instead is Zahir she's with the Metal Clan, and then we go visit the original Airbenders, and Korra's not really even in that episode.
Not at all. Yeah.
But
Well, for like a
she's in the
minute.
first yeah for a minute exactly,
She's
and
like the
then
person hosting the radio show, like, hey, caller, tell me what I can
yeah
do for you. And that's her job.
yeah uh so
I
yeah
still think of
that
the Metal Clan as where the season kind of ramps up in like drama and action episode wise, but I think you're right that this is a more appropriate place to put that to plant that flag.
yeah this was the episode this was the holy crap episode like holy crap this season is like if they can just keep this season at this level this season would be great, and
It's
then I don't think they keep it at that level in a good way.
I watched this one today, and then like I mentioned before, I was like watched the rest of them, and I am into Chris the rest of the day. This is all these messages about holy crap. Can you? I'm sure Chris
Yeah,
on the
well,
other
I
side
was
like
like,
I've seen this show
thing
like
is, you sent
30
me something about
times.
something that happens at the finale. I'm like, oh, you must have just like
Yeah, just
watched.
rolled it, just rolled it. It's
Yeah,
hard to stop. Maybe that's the best compliment you can give. It's hard to stop at this point. On I don't think is there a nicer thing you can say about a serial television show on a streaming service?
mm,
It's hard to stop.
yeah,
But that being said, hey, they're all good from here on out, and I look forward to the next ones as well. And we won't interrupt these proceedings with a Ted Lasso season 2 review unless we have to for random personal or holiday reasons or something. We're gonna stay on the train and get through these amazing episodes. Chris, thanks for joining me. Everybody out there, thanks for listening to and or watching us. We really appreciate it. We'll put lots of contacty things down in the description. If you're interested, we're always happy to hear from you. My name's Shawn. That's Chris Ford, aka The Objective Geek of YouTube and Twitter. It looked like I picked my nose when I did that. It's kind of funny. This has been Avatar: The Last Podcasters, The Terror Within, which is Legend of Korra, Book 3, Change, Chapter 8. that's all I got to say. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.
I don't want to wake up early tomorrow morning. I'm reading.
Chris still talking about waking up early. Okay, see you guys later.